Hey y'all, today I am fitting the stock wheels back on the truck, and I still want to keep the rear wheel spacers, and I'll show you what I got to do to keep them. The front wheels, to go down to the 16s, I have to change to the stock spindles. I'll show you why. On the drop spindle, since it moves the whole hub up 2 inches and the way that the ball joint sticks down, it just clips the bottom of the 16-inch wheel. The 20 fits over just perfect. Here's the 20s. I am holding on to these for another project. But in these 20s, it has a void in between the lug nuts. So when I ran my spacers in the wheel in the rear, for some reason, Chevrolet makes the stock axles on the Suburbans narrow, but the van's nice and wide. So you can get a 2500 axle out of a van, and it'll be an inch wider and make the wheels fit right. But if you're gonna add a 1-inch spacer, the stock stud sticks out just far enough to where you can't get the stock wheel on, because the stock wheel is flat. I went and purchased some 285/75 R16 Atlas paralleler MTs. I figured if I'm going up with it, might as well fit the part. The 20s I got are actually 31 inches tall. They're 31.2. It's a 285/50. They're really nice and wide, and they're on a 20/9, so it really stretches at 285 to its full width. This 285 on a 6.5-inch rim, they look way skinnier than this 285. So going back with the off-road look, since I'm going back up in there and making it off-road again, we're gonna go ahead and cut off the tips of the lug studs so I can keep the 1-inch spacer, because I'll show y'all why. That fits right flat with the back of the truck, kind of like a ram, and it looks good. I'll throw the stock wheel on this side and show you what I'm talking about. So I went ahead and just popped the wheel on the axle stock and took off the wheel adapter or the wheel spacer. It's only a 1-inch. But that 1 inch makes a big difference. I don't know if you can really tell on the camera, but if you look at the side of the truck, the wheel just disappears. And I'm not even to the side of the truck yet. It's there. Yeah, there it is. There's the wheel. But just looking at the other side, straight down the side of the truck, you can already see the tire. And it just gives a much more aggressive stance to the back of the truck. Let's go ahead and cut some studs and remount the wheel spacer flush, and we'll go ahead and put the stock wheel back on, and we'll have the back of the truck looking right with the lift. Instead of on the 31s with the 22/9s, is now it's on 33s with the stock 16/6.5s. That 1-inch spacer also sucks up a bunch of this axle in the rear from the hub sticking out. So you only just see just a little bit. It makes it more look like a center cap. In my opinion, it's about a look. It makes the back of the truck wider, just more sturdy feeling. You get a little bit more mud on the fenders, but besides that, I think the look is totally worth the slop. So get your hose out, because the back of the truck's staying wide. So I'm going to start by running the stock lug nuts on. That way if I cut a little too far, when I back the lug nut off, it'll straighten the thread out for me. So I got plenty sticking out that I can go ahead and cut off. And since the blade's going to be spinning this way, I'm going to throw all the debris down away from my face, and it's just safer that way. I could wear some safety glasses, but all mine are tinted and I can't see what I'm doing, so I got to go get some clear ones. It's kind of tight in here. With this angle, you'll be able to see what I'm doing, but you can also see how far in the axle sit. We'll go ahead and cut all these studs real quick, and we'll throw the spacer back on and throw the tire back on, so you can see how much difference it really made compared to what you saw in the first place. I mean, an inch is a lot, especially when it comes to wheel back space and offset. Like, it just, the aggressiveness of the truck with the spacers versus not, you can see it from the side as well as from the back. So let's get to cutting this. We're just cutting the tip, and my battery died. I just cut the tips off the lug nuts. They're way too hot to pick up to show you, but it's not much, but it's just enough that it lets the wheel sit flat against the spacer. It's not going to mess up anything if you decide not to use the spacer, because all the threads are still there. And I don't believe I even went close to touching any threads, but in case I did, I put the lug nuts on first, one for spacing, two, so when you back them off, it does clean the threads just like a die does. So here's the 1-inch spacer. It's been on the truck for 3 years. There's not one issue with it, not cracked anywhere. It's been torqued properly. So now the studs don't stick out at all. They're actually in probably 1/8 of an inch. It's a great place to keep them while you're working, so you know where they all are. But I'm gonna start them all by finger just to be sure they all start. You don't want to go ramrodding it on with a gun and strip out the studs. Those are not fun to change. 1.5 pitch thread on these lugs is definitely large enough that they just catch easily. Fine threads aren't as forgiving. So I'm not going to use my big gun with 1,000 foot-pounds of torque to tighten these up with. I'm going to go halfway, use a little nut buster here. I'm going to go ahead and torque this down to the right specification. So now with the parking brake set, I'm going to go ahead and give these a good torque. They're all pretty even, and now we're ready to throw the tire back on. So straight away, you're gonna see a big difference. And if I would have swapped up the axle with the one from a 3/4 ton van, I would achieve the same thing. I would have put a whole lot more in it than a set of $60 wheel spacers. So I didn't cut off much. Just about a 1/4 inch, just a tip. But for those of you in other countries, 6 millimeter. That's already better. I don't have the center caps for the wheels. The truck did not come with them. I believe not having the giant hub sticking out super far into the center of the rim looks a whole lot better. And there we go. Nice flat flush with the fender. Big aggressive look. Yeah, way better. Nice and aggressive. Remember when I stood here before, you couldn't even see the tire? Now it's bulging out just a little bit. You get flat with the side of the truck and still see the tire coming down. In my opinion, that is way more aggressive and way better than having them stuffed way underneath the back fenders. So now I'm gonna go ahead and hop on the front, swap out the front spindles, and set the truck on some 33 1150s and give the jacked up off-road look back to the 4x4 Gangsta Burb, which is ungangster because it's no longer low and I don't like it as much. So before I get on the front drop spindles, when I first got the truck, I was new to YouTube. I kind of used this truck to kind of start my YouTube channel, and I wasn't really comfortable talking to y'all like this, like you're here, even though you are here, but you're not exactly here. I'm talking to a little camera. The idea for the four-wheel drive 8.1, just to be like a rally car on steroids. That's really my first vision was for this truck. That's why I went with these kind of low profile. They're not like real aggressive mud tires. They gotta, they'll get you through some sand or not no sloppy wetness, but rocks, like a gravel stage. And they're 31 by 11.5. These are 33 by 11.5, but they're on a 6-inch wheel, which sucks them in a little bit, which gives them that tall kind of tractor look. But I put the mud flaps front and back, and I lowered the stance, and I threw some yellow fog lights and some stripes. Modified this thing. I made it mine. It was really cool. It was like a 7-inch drop overall that I put on it. It had that low, wide, not low rider, not sport truck, but more like huge rally car. And I really wanted to throw a set of twin turbos on the 8.1. I don't know if you watch LT Tolman, but LT threw a huge SR80 or something like that on his, and he was throwing down 900 horse, 1,200 foot-pounds of torque out of a stock 8.1 before he started modifying it. I just was going to be happy with like a 750 horse, 1,000 foot-pound of torque in a four-wheel drive daily driver. And there is no place to do rally stage around here in Louisiana, but I'm a car enthusiast. I love all sorts of racing, and I really thought it would be cool just to drive around in my own kind of like rally car on steroids. I have a muscle car behind me. I have a pre-runner over here, and I have a sport truck right next to Ballin, my buddy's sport truck. We're kind of thinking about a little something on the side over there. I don't want to get too into it. It's Yenko inspired, so we're just kind of like got muscle car in our roots down here in southeast Louisiana. Still putting a Burb back to stock so I can kind of recoup some expenses that I've made and reuse them to build the regular cab behind me and the pre-runner project that I've been having since 09. Get stuff kicked off for 2026. I'm trying to make some money over here. Let's go ahead and get these stock factory spindles put on. I'm going to keep my drop spindles because sometime in the near future, I do want to slam a dually. I just think they're awesome. Crew cab or extended cab or regular cab. As long as it's got fat fenders and it's sitting on the ground on some 22.5s, that's just like the perfect recipe for awesome. It's like future plans that I'm kind of talking about here. Let's go ahead and throw the spindles on the front of the truck and get this thing back to stock ride height. Y'all will have to excuse my fans. It is hot out here, so I'm doing anything I can to stay cool, even though it's kind of starting to get overcast. Gonna hear thunder for a little afternoon cool down. So here we are, about to keep the drop spindles removed. You'll notice there's a whole lot of meat down here that the stock spindle just does not have, and that's the difference in able to fit a 16-inch rim or a 20-inch rim. That's the reason why I went with the 20s, because I was going with the drops, and this bigger wheel, they look cool. I'm going to start by taking the brakes off, and once we get those out the way, we'll undo the center nut for the front drive shaft or CV axle. This is a torsion bar car. There's your spring. This is already down all the way. We're going to go ahead and put a new bump stop in right here. I can take off the upper control arm, undo the bolts on the bottom, the tie rod end. Then we can just swap and put it back together. I can crank the torsion bars down just a little bit to get the ride height right. So I got about 9 inches in the rear. We get about 8 in the front and give it just a little rake. Keep it somewhat sporty for how high it's going to be. And if you throw a trailer on the back, it'll level it out nice. All right, let's get started. So I'm going to grab my 21 millimeter and just break the nuts on the back side. The breaker bar is thin. You know, it's not small. It's just thin. It gets where it needs to get. Half drive is kind of effortless to get all this stuff off. I'm just gonna pull the whole brake off and just hang it over here somewhere. I'm gonna go ahead and break this nut off. Take all this off camera and come back and take this nut off the CV shaft. Yeah, I hate to see this thing go, but I gotta move on to bigger and better things. I was kind of in a bind when I bought it. I had just blown up the transmission in the rear end in my pre-runner truck. I was gonna rebuild it, but I still had to go to work. And I was wanting something heavy duty to tow my boat with. And I didn't plan on keeping it forever anyway, because I'm building the pre-runner with a 4L80, same transmission this one's got. And I'm building it with a 450 horsepower 5.3. While I'm here, I'll pop some new brake pads in. These have half the life left, so I might as well give it to the next guy with 100% because I have them. Might as well put them on. Next guy's gonna appreciate them. He doesn't have to do them so soon. What am I gonna do with a spare pair of 2500 brake pads? Speed sensor for the front ABS. So I got the clip off. These two kind of crisscross. I know you really can't see what I'm doing here. And rotor. For those of y'all that say you drilled and slide rotors, eat up your brake pads and don't wear right, this thing is perfectly smooth. This is beautiful. It's probably got about 10,000 miles on it. No grooving, no cracking. Trust me, I use the brakes. The pads are worn even. It's the best set of brakes I ever had. No play in the hub, it's still good. No sense of changing that. So that axle nut's like a 1 3/8 or a 35 millimeter. I have a 36. It's a big nut. I don't think it'll strip it. Close enough. Oh yeah. This being a 3/4 ton, heavy duty takes 4 bolts instead of 3 like on the half tons. When I originally put the drop on the truck, I didn't video any of it because I didn't know if it was going to work. I had to kind of piece it together as I went. I knew this was because I bought this, but I was also pressed for time trying to make it scraping the coast. Not this year, but last year. Push the axle out, the whole hub comes right off. Nothing leaking, everything's nice and dry. Perfect. So this is a torsion bar truck, like I said, the spring's right here. It's in the back. It comes in the back of the lower control arm. It's all the way down right now. There's no coil spring going to fly out at you. There's nothing to support. I can just break all this apart, swap the stock one back in place, and put it all back together. No big deal. Say they got for later. And now the tie rod, 21, same as the brakes. Oh yeah. So you can nail it right here on this little button or drive it down from the top. It's got a hex to stop it from spinning. I don't think it's gonna make a difference either way. Just send a shock through and knock it at the bottom. Works either way. Get that out of my way. I got no room. So I grab it from the top. CV axle is perfect. I mean, there's no oil or nothing slung up on anything. Front of the truck's nice and dry. I'm gonna save these because I have dreams and aspirations of a drop dually. Might not need a drop dually, but it sure would be nice to have one. So there's a little section up here, kind of like this, that you can hit with a hammer. That'll break that loose. For the bottom, just give it a tap. Comes right off. Like a glove. There we go. So now as the trash man comes by and makes some kind of noise, I'm gonna start putting all this back together. The company I bought my tires from shipped all 4, but FedEx delivered 3 so far. So we're waiting on 1 tire so I can put it on the ground. We'll see if it happens before I have to leave because we're gonna go see Charcoal's graduation in the Navy tomorrow. So I'll be out of pocket from Wednesday to Saturday for the rest of this week. So there's 1. There's 2. Matching spare. 285, 75, 16. Those 3. And here's my problem. Here's 4. Tire company shipped all 4 tires. FedEx delivered 3. 1 still on the truck. That's the one that needed a scan to say that the tires were delivered. eBay still shows that tires are on the delivery vehicle ready to go, but clearly 3 of them are on my truck. So This video is getting held up by delivery, and I have the front all put back together. Didn't record it because it's pretty much just a rinse repeat. Brakes are on, factory spindle, steering. I'm gonna plug the brakes back in, or plug the speed sensor back in. Brake hooked back up, steering's hooked up. Gotta check the alignment on it, but you know, this has been torqued down. Truck's ready to get put back down on the ground, minus one tire. Can't go anywhere on 3. So if I can't get that last tire, I can't show you what it looks like jacked back up to factory height. It's been a long time since it's been factory height, and I've thrown a couple pictures out there of it at factory height. But I believe this time it's gonna look a little better with some appropriate tires factory height. Plus it's got the HD hood, the HD front end swap, so it looks more like a 2500 HD. It should have come like this from the factory, in my opinion. Just waiting on the tire, guys. Let's see what happens. Working on some ideas for a stripe, kind of like a Yenko theme kind of thing. I think it's pretty cool. So it's about a week later. Had to take a break. I couldn't finish the video. Had to fly up to Illinois to go see Charcoal do his Navy boot camp graduation. Proud of the kid, he's doing great. Back to the Gangsta Burb. I had 3 or 4 tires anyway. The 4th one showed up Thursday. I left on a Wednesday, so couldn't have finished the video anyway. We got a 285 75 16 to go on the stock 16 by 6.5. It's a little narrower than what's recommended, but it's kind of a skinny tire to begin with. I measured just as it sits. Here to here is 6 inches. So this being 6.5, it stretches it out a little bit. I believe recommended 7 to 10. It's got a great tread on it, but it's not exactly like a super wide tire. I mean, that's my whole hand. So let's go ahead and mount this up. I'm going to go ahead and swap the other spindle over for the other side. It's the same thing as what y'all just saw, and we'll go ahead and throw all 4 33 1150s basically on a Gangsta Burb and show y'all what it looks like at stock height. Well, 2 inches less than stock height. Front stock height. The back still got to drop because I like it level. So it also makes the rear springs a little softer because they can move more, and it rides better that way. All right, front end's put back stock on this side. Everything's been wiped off and re-greased. Let's go throw the last tire on. I might have done this backwards, but the hard part's done. Let's go do the easy part. All right, so I have moved up in the world thanks to my buddy Ryan that I did the exhaust on at Mustang with the 4.8 swap. I got some silicone tire mounting solvent. But before I go doing that, let's go ahead and mount this wheel. And it's been off the truck for 3 years, so it's got a little oxidation from the old wheels that were on there. I got my slow speed grinder, only turns 8,000 RPMs, and this wheel is rated for 12, so I know it's not going to sling a whole lot of these wire bristles off on me. And we'll go ahead and give it a spin. I'm going to clean up the wheel where the bead sits. And I'm going to use the valve stem location to kind of know where I've been. So here we go. Just want to make sure it's nice and clean so that tire doesn't have any air leaks around the rims. It's a load range E. It is a 285 LT, 285 75 16, so it's a light truck tire to 10 ply because that is a 2500 Suburban, in case y'all didn't know. If you're new, go to my channel, click the Gangsta Burb playlist and get caught up on where this truck started out and where it is now and where it's going back to. If I'd have put the airbags on it, I could have towed a trailer just fine, but I didn't, so I put it back to stock height for the next guy. So the red dot indicates the heaviest part of the tire, the yellow dot indicates where the valve stem should go. And this wheel fits tight. So I'll put this on here. Get my yellow dot about where it's got to go. And most of the times you can pop this first bead on. Pretty simple right off the bat. But this tire's tight. So I'm going to go ahead and get my arm. Got to get it over the spoon and under the ball. Give her a spin, huh? Line it up a little better. So just like before, over the spoon, under the ball. There we go. Pop on now. Pretty simple. All right, let's air it up. Shouldn't be hard to beat at all. Didn't even take the stem out. That was it. Nothing dramatic. I watched it just slip right on. That silicone stuff is really nice. Appreciate that, Ryan. Since these are load range E's and they're good for 80 PSI, I'm gonna put them about 70 and see how the truck rides. The truck recommends 80 on the rear and 65 on the front. But with my little spring adjustment, the back should ride a little softer. Big tire, holds a lot of air. Pop a couple weights on it, huh? These wheels don't weigh anything. They're pretty freaking awesome. It's just like picking up only the tire, but inflated. All right, so with this particular balancer, the instructions were in Chinese or Korean. I really don't know. I figured this machine out pretty good over the past couple years I've had it. It's a good machine. It's kind of like 80s technology as far as tire balancing goes, but it balances just fine. It doesn't have the safety pull down, and you do have to manually start it because I bought the cheap one and the engine's not strong enough to get something big like this going by itself. Just want to make sure I got all the stickers off the tires, anything big at the inside of the wheel. And before I spin it, make sure it lined up. That's dead on. So I'm going to take my little arm back here. We're at 11 off the machine. This is a 6.5. 16. So what I'm going to do first is just give it a spin and let it calculate. For as big of a tire as this is, it doesn't have a shimmy, a wobble. It's not breathing when it goes around. It's centered very nicely on this wheel. On the road, it's probably going to wear the center tread more than the outside tread, but off-road, it'll wear it all. So it's only asking for 2 ounces on the front and 3/4 ounce on the back. It's not bad for a 33-inch tire. So I'm going to optimal balance it. It's asking me to spin it 180 degrees. So for optimal balance, it just requires 2 ounces. Now we're going to static balance it by spinning it one more time and not pressing anything. Weights just on the center of the wheel, nothing on the front. Nice and clean, just like I like. 2 ounces. So what I got left here? I got a brand new box of weights. My buddy Big B hooked me up with zinc 1 ounces and a box of zinc 1/2 ounces. Thanks, bro. Appreciate that. So all we need is 2 ounces, which is 2 of these. And it wants it straight up, exactly where it is right now. So I'll go ahead and clean the surface. Fast evaporative helper here. Really helps the weight stick. So just to be exact on where I'm at, go ahead and peel the glue. I like to put my finger on the rim and rotate it down so I can see what I'm doing. Right in between the spoke. Give it a good push to make sure the adhesive sticks. And unlike some tire shops, I'm going to spin this thing again to make sure it's zero before I put it on the truck. So now that it's set, I can do the rest of all the tires. As long as the wheels don't change, the machine's set up to do this for every single one of them. Which the previous 3 have been done. This is the last one. Asking for 1 more ounce. That's why I spin it. Double zeros, snake eyes, whatever you want to call them. This tire is balanced with 3 ounces. So the heaviest part of the tire is this red dot. Let me see where my weights are. Directly across there in this area here. And I got the yellow dot by the valve stem. All right, put it on a truck. So this tire could look wider on a wider wheel, but it don't look bad now. It's on there. It's pretty light for what it is. No space in the front on the stock wheels or anything. Give them all a little start. This is Big Deborah. We can call this one Big Deborah. Yeah. Yeah, Big Deborah ain't too bad there. There we go. Kind of like it without the center caps. It gives like a military kind of look. Let's go ahead and drop it on the ground so y'all can see what it looks like back at stock height. Got the torsion bars cranked up in the front, and the back's got a 2-inch drop, so I might have to adjust the torsion bars accordingly. But I'll measure the fender well gap, and if it's the same or just a hair to the front like I like it, I'll leave it alone. How about that, huh? I guess I did take it down around 7 inches or so, because, man, that is a huge difference. I'm not done putting it back to stock yet, or I still have to adjust the exhaust system a little bit. I have to take out a couple speakers. I really want to pull the wrap off the hood and paint the hood so it matches the rest of the truck. I think I'm going to leave the decals, and it's got that 73 vintage kind of look with the white roof. The white roof really, really helps with the air conditioning system. So, there it is. HD swap front end. It's back up in there like a 2500 is supposed to be. And this isn't the last video on the Gangsta Burb, but we're getting to the end of it before I have to list it so I can recoup a couple dollars, get back on RCSB, and build that pre-runner project that's behind y'all that you can't see. I really appreciate you watching Modified. I try to do a video every Friday and with multiple shorts along the week. If you're new to the channel, go check out my playlist and get caught up. I really appreciate it. Thank y'all for watching Modified. Catch you next week. Later.